Live from New York. It's what promises to be one of the most confusing shows you've ever seen in sports television. It's First Things First. Today, Brewer, the Eagles being disrespected.
Yes, they are. There's no other way to look at it.
Thank you.
I'm dead serious.
I agree.
Even if you think they're due, and I got to be honest, I think they're due for a loss at some point. I don't think they're going 16-1, but they have earned the right now at 10-1, best record in the league, to be favored every game, at least so far.
Every home game. Yes.
Well, they're undefeated at home. That's the other thing.
People should believe that the Eagles will win the game.
Yes.
And those they should be favored.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Well,
especially
I don't know.
you, bro.
I don't know about. No, hold on. Because look, I picked them to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You believe in them more than anyone.
Yes, but I am not saying they're going to go undefeated the rest of the season.
Right, but what about undefeated
I didn't
in
come
week
on
13?
here and say they're going 20-0.
Right, but what about
I
this
didn't come on here and get a tattoo on my forearm saying never a doubt.
That's the Chiefs.
Eagles in 2024.
Yeah.
True.
All right, so they're going to lose some games.
What about this week?
I think they're going to lose this week.
Okay.
I do.
This is so.
No, hold on. Really?
Yeah.
Well,
If they go 15-2 or 14-3, and I pick them to win the Super Bowl, I'm abandoning them
No,
because I think
that's
they're
not
about
what
to
it is.
lose.
That's not what it is. Here's the thing, Brew. What's the biggest indictment you have on why the Cowboys aren't going to go to the Super Bowl? Who?
They aren't as good as the Eagles and the Niners.
Sure,
How about
but
that?
what's the evidence for the Niners thing?
Well, the Niners pounded it. I don't think they're going to get beat 42-10.
The Niners
no,
beat
it's not that the
So-
Niners beat them. It really isn't. It isn't that the Niners beat them.
It's that
it
they
is that
annihilated
they
them.
pounded
So here's
them.
the thing. Brew is correct on the first thing he said.
I'm correct on it all.
It is wildly disrespectful and unprecedented. In the Super Bowl era, there has never been a team this late in the season, 10-1 or better, that has been they are now a full field goal underdog
that's
at home.
strange.
The only, the little asterisk there is, it's actually happened twice, but those are teams that were resting in week 17.
Okay.
Guys,
You said in the whole Super Bowl era?
in the whole Super Bowl era, there has never been a team that has been a full field goal dog at home that's 10-1 or better later in the year. So it is, what Vegas is telling us is that they clearly believe the healthy Niners are a cut above everyone. That may or may not be true, but that's what Vegas and the betting public is telling us. And what Chris Broussard is telling us is he wants to be able to wear his sunglasses and his cocksure nature no matter what happens on Monday.
No.
This is America. Thank
no.
you, Rick. Put the camera on me.
I will be in that position.
Need to talk to the audience.
I will be in that position, but that thought has never crossed my mind until now.
Listen, America,
but it's a good one.
I'm talking to you right now, and I have only once ever on this show, and it was by accident, questioned Brew's integrity. I didn't even know I was doing it.
It wasn't good either.
And Brew instantly, it changed person, slammed the table and said, "Do not question my integrity." I was like, "Oh, I didn't even mean to do that, but I'll make sure to never do it again." Except for right now. Because Brew is doing the ultimate television hedge, which is heads I win, tails I win. If I pick the Niners and they win, I get to say I'm not worried about the Eagles. I had the Niners the whole time. And if I pick the Niners and the Eagles win, I get to say, well, that was my Super Bowl pick all along. You are setting yourself up for Monday to be able to be the big winner for America's Game of the Week no matter what.
Very savvy.
That is what's happening here.
Look,
we can all see it.
That may be true. that I'm going to look good on Monday either way. I am dead serious. That thought did not cross my mind until you said it, Nick.
Okay.
I'm dead. I just don't get why it's so strange. You don't think they're going 16-1?
No. Here's why I think it's a little strange in this regard, is that the Eagles. The Eagles are at home. We'll see about Lane Johnson's health, but let's assume he's able to play, seemingly at full strength.
And then Fletcher Cox.
In a game that both teams have had circled all year. And so if the Niners were to go there in these circumstances and win, if I were someone that did have the Eagles as the Super Bowl team, it would make me quite nervous. Yeah. That an Eagles team that knows the Niners, and I know we're going to get to it, has been yapping that they were the better team last year. An Eagles team that themselves have had, I don't want to say a wake-up call, because they haven't needed a wake-up call, but they have been flirting with disaster over the last few weeks and know that this is that. Well,
even though they admit after every game, oh, we didn't play
well.
A long field goal
should be a wake-up call.
And 59. That's the thing.
But nothing wakes you up like an L at home. I'm just saying. Look, they are. I'm looking at it like Miami 5 weeks ago, Kansas City, Dallas, Buffalo. I mean, they're going to get through this gauntlet unscathed.
I think that
at some point, and I think it'll be the Niners. They're going to lose another game.
And I guess here would be and then we can move on.
Yeah.
Here would be my concern if I were an Eagles fan. And unlike Wildes, I'm not a sports bigamist, or polygamist, I should say, and have favorite teams all over the place. But I do, as I said yesterday, I respect the franchise. I like a lot of their players. And of the teams in the NFC, I picked the Cowboys, but I find myself rooting for a lot of the Eagles guys individually. If I were an Eagles fan, I'd be very anxious if we were to lose this game, because the very next week you have Dallas, who is sitting at 3 losses, and you're going to Dallas in a game that I believe you are going to be an underdog in. Okay. You're an underdog at home here.
Especially
I'm not sure. And then all of a sudden, you win this game, I don't want to say lock up the 1 seed, but damn close to it. You're still 3 games clear of Dallas because you have the tiebreaker. Even if you lose them, you're okay. You lose this game, all of a sudden, you could be tied with Dallas a week from now, and in a dogfight, forget the 1 seed, to stave Dallas off for the division. And so I just think it's a wildly important spot for Philly in a way it really isn't for the Niners.
You're convincing me my Eagles might prevail.
Oh, well, let's see there.
Unfortunately. See, now you're changing it.
No.
You said it was
I'm going with the Niners.
All right, here's the reason why I think you're right. You know how I have these pithy sayings I've invented on the show? Like baby goat and scoring, not boring, and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure.
Me and Josh came up with a new one. It's called Defense Wins Championships. Because I know you're like, no, it's a team wins a championship, but it might catch on. Defense wins championship. Here's the comparison in the defensive ranks between San Francisco and Philadelphia.
Wow.
It's something. So if I'm San Francisco, I've said, all right, the top offenses in yards, just total yards, Dolphins, Lions, 49ers, Bills, Cowboys. They did do a good job against the Dolphins, but the Cowboys averaged 377. They got 406. The Bills averaged 383. They got 505. So San Francisco averages 386. Brock Purdy.
Well, I think what I think Vegas is saying is that they don't think Philly's back end can hold up against San Francisco's offense.
No.
I wonder if San Francisco's back end without Hufanga can hold up against Philly's passing attack. Because I do think Philly's going to be able to block them in a way that a lot of the last couple of San Francisco opponents have not been able to. And then you're going to have time. And you guys know I believe that if you can block San Francisco, particularly without Hufanga back there, I think that is where they would be most vulnerable. Not vulnerable the way Philly is, but I think both teams' back ends can get caught up if they pass rush.
Can get got.
Yeah. Okay, trash talk time. Last year, Brock Purdy knocked out of the game. San Francisco was in disarray. Even had Christian McCaffrey warming up at QB at one point. That didn't work out. Yeah. Well, after the game, the 49ers basically said, hey, you know what? Wasn't fair. We lost our quarterback. So here are the actual quotes. Debo said, we lost because we played with 10 people. He said that in May. Brandon Ayuk said, we have hands down the best football team in the league. They got extremely lucky. Again, bad pass protection by design, unfortunately. And then Robbie Gould, who's not on the team anymore. If you make Jalen Hurts play quarterback, you're going to have a pretty solid day on defense. That's over the top, and you're not on the team. But Haason Reddick has heard enough. Take a listen.
Honestly,
I liked it.
Because both these teams just haven't stopped whining about the way their season ended. At least the Niners, there is an air of legitimacy, which is we were on our 3rd string quarterback, he got knocked out of the game. Then our 4th string quarterback, he got knocked out of the game as well, and we were without a quarterback. But Philly complaining about guys complaining about an unfair loss when they spent months talking about the officials and the playing surface.
It was slippery, though.
And I mean, so,
it was
again, to me,
and they backed up their words. I got to give them that. Philly.
Well, okay. I mean, I disagree, but that's fine.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think that because
it doesn't make up for the Super Bowl.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Because they beat the Chiefs in a one-score game. What, Brew? What's your confusion?
They beat them.
Yeah, I understand.
Just stop it. They beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, but
what does it matter if it was a one-score game?
No, I'm saying
It was in their house.
I understand. I personally don't think that there is anything Philly could do short of beating the Chiefs in a Super Bowl that can make up for the Super Bowl the Chiefs beat them.
I'm just saying they backed up their words that.
That the Super Bowl was about the playing surface? No, they did not.
They
flatly did not.
You're right. You can't do it other than winning a Super Bowl. But they talked all this trash, and then they went into their house and backed it up.
Okay,
now you're right. If they don't win the Super Bowl, it's not going to matter. But for right now, it matters.
Okay, I disagree, but that's another discussion for another day. My point is that we now have two teams that both whined about the way their season lost. So I don't have a ton of, I guess, empathy, if you will, for Haason Reddick saying they cried too much, a lot of boo-hoos, while it wasn't Reddick, but a lot of his teammates were doing the same boo-hoos about the Super Bowl.
All right, well, Purdy is back. Is this a must-win for Brock Purdy?
No. Look, Brock Purdy has proven he can win big games. I mean, first playoff game, he beats Seattle, throws for 300-plus yards, 3 touchdowns. All right, this year against Dallas, huge game. Probably the biggest regular season game of his career. 4 touchdowns, 300, almost 250, 260 yards, something like that. Played great. Outplayed Dak Prescott. Jacksonville he's Mr. Irrelevant against the number 1 pick, 3 touchdowns, 300 yards, 296, something like that. So he has proven he can play big against the big teams, the top teams. And there's no shame. If they lose, there's no shame in going into Philly and losing. All right, Patrick Mahomes just lost to the Eagles in Kansas City. All right, Dak Prescott. We've seen other great quarterbacks. Josh Allen lose in Philly to this team. So, look, he can't go out and have an absolute clunker. He can be like, he was pretty good on Thanksgiving Day. He was fine. He wasn't great. He wasn't bad. He can do that, but if he throws 3 picks,
there you go.
It'll just bring out the haters again.
Okay, so again, I don't know why you motion to me when you say the haters.
Because you're hater number 1.
I'm just incredibly consistent and fair to Brock Purdy, and your good friends. We'll see where he is on Mahomes Mountain, but your good friends at Pro Football Focus have him 13th. Stephen Ruiz from The Ringer has him 18th amongst NFL quarterbacks. Like the idea that
number 1.
That's fine. And if you would like to have that be your level of analysis, we could have Deep Blue out here and they could tell us the rankings as well. But there's more to it than that, and I know you know that. My point is, me having him firmly outside of the top 10 is not out of left field opinion. It is shared by many. Now, you guys, you thinking he is, a fringe MVP candidate, and you thinking you don't know what you think because you've gone back and forth on it.
When he plays
that's all fair. But what Bruce said at the end is true. It is a must not melt down. Because for the San Francisco 49ers, even Brew, I think, would agree with this. Aside from injury, the biggest question mark with them and are they going to win the Super Bowl is their quarterback. And that is not a stinging indictment of him. It can be read like that, but we look at the rest of the team and we say not a ton of question marks. So you can look at that as like kind of the poorest rich guy type of thing. Like, doesn't mean you're poor. For Purdy, if he has a disastrous game or if he has a fine game and then has a disastrous moment at the end, a la the losing streak, though either of those things would be a red siren moment for them. But them losing, or even them losing and him just, playing mediocre, to me it does not move the needle in either direction. And now, to be fair, if he were to do what he was unable to do during the losing streak, if it is a nip and tuck game and he's been mediocre, call it, and then he leads them on a drive at the end, that would be a massive check mark in his column positively against this opponent in that building.
Let me ask you this, Nick.
Yeah.
let's say they beat him 30-17, and he plays well, 3 touchdowns, 260 yards, whatever.
Yeah.
Would you be more impressed by that, or if he plays okay, but it's nip and tuck?
With the second.
Really, and he leads a game, even if it's just for a field goal.
Yes, because I know that when the things are rolling for the Niners, Purdy can look as good as almost any quarterback in the league. I know that. I am of the belief that the Niners it is not going to be smooth sailing like that for them in the games for them that truly matter in the postseason, and certainly if they were to get to the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. And so for those or against Bruce
You would
Ravens.
think this game will be
no, this is a big spot. But you also know that I have
right.
real question marks about the back end of Philly. We've seen Wildes guy Sam Howell. We've seen almost everybody cut him up.
See how he did that?
What? It's just true. Wildes guy Sam Howell.
If Purdy leads the game-winning drive, that's for Monday. They're back in. I told you.
I just told you that would impress me. I told you that would impress me.
Mac Jones carved them up.
Right. That's
exactly
that
what
would
impress me. The game-winning drive thing would impress me. I said that. Yeah.
Finally, odds to win the NFC. Philly's in number 1. Then it's San Francisco. Then it's Dallas, Detroit. What's going on with the Lions? Then it's Seattle. Who's the better bet, Philly or San Francisco? Brew.
Well, look, obviously I like both teams, but I'm going to stick with my pick, which is Philly. I think Philly is the best team in football. Now, they're not blowing anybody out, right? They've got 2 double-digit wins. They haven't won by more than 14 points against anybody, even a bunch of these tomato cans in here.
Yep.
All right, but I think if you're talking about them in San Francisco, as much as I like Brock Purdy, I like Jalen Hurts more. All right, Philly has proven that they're playoff tested. They got to the Super Bowl and played well. They lost. You can play well and lose, and that's what they did in the Super Bowl, right?
100%.
And so I got to go with Philly. Now look, Philly. And here's the other thing. I don't know if you want to throw in Dallas.
Well, that's what I was going to. I think these odds are skewed because I do not look at it as a 2-team race, and these odds have it as a 2-team race. In my opinion, 4 teams in the NFL have separated themselves. If we are being honest about where they're going to finish positionally in the standings, what we know about them, what we believe. And it's those 3 teams on your screen in Kansas City. Brew would probably include Baltimore in that group. I would not, but we can argue about the Ravens later. I think the Cowboys being such substantial underdogs compared to Philly and San Francisco, which are damn near even odds, I think that's a skew. Now, if the answer to that is because right now they think Dallas is going to be on the road the entire postseason because they're a wild card, I think I buy that. But the flip side to that is I think Dallas's first playoff game is likely going to be far easier than whomever the Niners have to face, assuming Philly gets the 1 seed, because Dallas is going to be taking on the winner of the NFC South. And so I just think Dallas is it is hard to say they are as good as the Niners because head-to-head, we haven't seen them beat them.
Right.
But I think that Dallas's chances of beating Philly are better than the Niners' chances of beating Philly. And so it's kind of a circular thing. So I just think Dallas should be a hell of a lot
Philly
closer.
is tough. There's no doubt. That's a good game. But here's the thing, Nick. Last 2 years, Dallas has been a very good team, right? Both years. 5-0 at home this year, 3-3 on the road. 8-1 at home last year, 4-4 on the road. So they aren't a great road team.
And if you remember, Brew, before the year, and this is why, listen, I have no reason to change my pick of the Cowboys. But if we were to right now, if it's like, hey, we never made picks, what's the smart money on? The smart money in the NFC would be on Philly because of their road to the 1 seed. And if you remember before the year, what I said was I thought Dallas was going to finish with the best record in the NFC. Not only have the bye, but have the playoffs go through Dallas. Now, if Brew's right and San Francisco wins this week, then that actually opens the door up for Dallas once again. If San Francisco to getting the 1 seed, because then Philly could lose to Dallas. You understand? And so, but if Philly is the 1 seed, they deserve to be the favorites. But I think Dallas should be right there with San Francisco. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.